Hello everyone, this is Nele speaking for the Curly Hair Project, and today I want to address a subject that we have many questions about, namely the extrovert autist or the extrovert aspie. I'm going to be speaking from my own personal experience because we really haven't had a lot of feedback and input from other people who are on the spectrum and extroverted like me. So rather than this being of therapeutic value and psychoeducational value, this will be more my own personal experience. And if you can relate, or if you do feel like you're an extroverted aspie as well, don't hesitate to correct me. Don't hesitate to write down your own experiences or to let me know if you can relate to them. I would like to explain to you why being an extroverted autist is quite difficult in this society. It's a lot about not really belonging anywhere, in the sense that people don't regard you autistic, and the autistic community doesn't regard you autistic either. Let me explain this. When someone mentions the word autism, there are a number of stereotypes that you think about that can be correct for the most part. Like, most people with autism will be rather shy and into themselves, very introverted, and they will not be able, or they won't speak up in classes, or they'll just be very, very silent. This is like one of the most important ways that people think they can recognize someone with autism, when they're like very quiet, they don't know what to say or how to say it. And when they'll mention like, I have autism, they'll go like, oh yeah, because he or she is very quiet. The same goes for people with autism themselves. They know how difficult it is to get like the images out of your head and into words. So they understand from other people with autism that they really don't know how to express themselves, and that it's very tiring to express yourself, and that it can be very exhausting to be social. The extrovert aspie or the extrovert autist, however, like me, doesn't really have that. What we do is we talk a lot. And that makes it very difficult for people to really put you into a definition and give you a label. Like, I don't understand where you belong, because people expect me to be introverted when I tell them I have autism. And when they hear me talk, they're like, you can't possibly have autism because you're able to speak. You're able to actually stand in front of a classroom and have like a half-hour lecture about something, and people will be glued to your every word. That's not possible. That's not something that people with autism are able to do. It is possible. Some people with autism simply are more extroverted. This comes with a lot of problems. Like I said before, we don't really belong anywhere. We get overlooked very easily. And I do believe that there are a lot of people with autism who are extroverted but have no idea they have autism because they are extroverted. And they don't know that it's possible to have autism and be on the more extrovert side as well. Neurotypicals will tell us, like, you're able to talk. I can talk to you. You don't have autism. The autistic community will be like, but you're so out there. That's not possible, you know? We're not able to do that. Why are you able to do that? You're not really autistic. So that's difficulty number one. You don't really belong anywhere, and I am definitely on the spectrum. Trust me, I am most definitely on the spectrum. Secondly, is that an extroverted aspie, we don't really have the social cues either. People seem to think we do, and when you really observe hard, like I have done all my life, yes, you are able to maintain a conversation for so long. Yes, you are able to go stand in front of a classroom and act out, and people will be glued to your every word, but that's only possible because I have observed and analyzed other behavior so intensively that I can replicate it. And because of the fact that I can actually translate what's in my head to words, it comes across as being neurotypical. But I still don't have those social cues. If you come up to me and you're a stranger and you'll talk to me without having a predetermined subject, I will be lost. And I will not understand what it is you want from me, and I will touch subjects that people will deem inappropriate to talk about. This can be very awkward and difficult. I mean, if I have someone in my line of work come to me and talk to me about a certain issue they're having, I will know what I need to respond. But if there's a stranger coming up to me and they talk to me about something random, I will not know how to respond. And this can give real issues because I will actually look for things to talk about. And that means I will become a sort of Sherlock Holmes almost, and I will observe every detail. If they have their phone with them and they're like going on about it, I will see what they're doing on their phone and I will start a subject about it. But that's not done because people feel like you're invading in their privacy. If you have two friends and they're talking about something and you're listening in and it's a subject that you feel you have an opinion about, I will actually just let them know, which is not okay because those people are feeling like you're invading their privacy. I don't have those social boundaries. I don't know what is correct and what is not correct. The difference between me and an introverted person with autism is that the introverted person will keep it to themselves, whereas I just blurt it out. And that really gets me into trouble. The other thing is that even though I may seem very easy to talk to and stuff like that, is I can only maintain that facade for so long. I do have very limited social energy. It's very, very limited. I always compare it to a very old car that I'm driving with a very small tank. And to be social, I have to use these old paper maps to find a way, so whereas people who are functioning neurotypically will have a fancy car with a big tank and a sat nav, so they can function pretty decently on the social chart, whereas I get lost and have to make plenty of stops, just like every other person on the spectrum. The thing is with this is when you're extroverted and you have to go meet someone, like for example now with my internship, they see me as a very happy-go-lucky, talkative person. What they don't see is the spectrum. And when they start working with me, they will be confronted with that spectrum and not know how to deal with it. Let me just give you an example of how this can go wrong. Is last year I did an internship in a very wonderful institution for people with a mental disability. And people liked working with me because I was so open and talkative and stuff. And one day I was asked to go shopping with one of the clients and they gave me a list. So obviously, being autistic, I stick to the list. And when I got back, one of my coworkers pointed out, Nele, you only brought back one package of butter. And I was like, yeah, it only said butter on the list. And he was like, yeah, but we need more. We're 10 to 15 people here. Because it was so literal on the list, I took it literally and only brought one package with me. And afterwards, he told me, I I should have realized, you're autistic, and I should have specified better, but it's so easy to forget it because you're so easy to talk to, and most people on the spectrum don't have that. So you always have to prove yourself over and over and over again you're on the spectrum because you happen to be talkative and extroverted. And it gets very tiring because, like I mentioned before, it's you don't really belong anywhere. You don't really, you're not neurotypical, because if I don't get my routines, I get upset. If there is a change, I get upset. I have my quirks and my routines and my schedules, and I take things literally. I don't get jokes. I don't get sarcasm. I'm every bit autistic, except I happen to be able to be quite well verbally. I'm quite good at talking. But on the other side is when you tell people you're autistic, they will not believe you because you're good at talking until they're confronted with it, and then they get angry at you because you're not able to function like they expected you to function. And that's just really difficult to live by, because I can see this really well in me and my dad. My father is autistic as well, but he's introverted and I'm extroverted. And I have a good example for this. Last year, me and him went to a lecture about autism at the school of one of his foster children who has autism as well. And they said a lot of things that got to me, and I was not okay with that. So I speak up. I just blurt it out. My dad, on the other hand, being introverted, was completely ashamed of me, and you could just see him lowering himself on the chair and being redder and redder and redder, like, oh, shut up, daughter, I'm not here with you. And people take his autism more seriously than they do mine, because he fits the stereotype a lot better than I do. And that's really difficult, because I feel like I have to prove myself over and over and over again, because I'm extroverted, and that shouldn't be the case. I do hope by making this video, other people like me can start realizing I do fit the spectrum really well, even though I can talk a lot, and that they feel like they can recognize themselves. So don't be afraid to contact us. Don't be afraid to share your story with us. We at the Curly Hair Project will be focusing a bit more on the extrovert aspect as well. And I will be working more towards finding coping methods and other methods that will help you deal with your daily life. If you have any questions, you can always find us on Facebook. And if you need any more information, you can always check the website of the Curly Hair Project. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.